everybody. Welcome finally to episode number 89 of Driftless Knitting. My name is Jennifer. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter. You technically can find the podcast on Ravelry as well if you search for Driftless Knitting under the groups tab, but it's pretty quiet over there, so not much going on. Definitely if you want to follow kind of what I'm doing, both in my personal life and my knitting life, honestly, mostly my knitting life, follow me on Instagram. I post like primarily knitting material on there, so you can definitely keep up in between podcast episodes with what I'm working on and kind of what I'm up to. So speaking of in between podcast episodes, it has been quite a while since I have filmed anything, and yeah, life has just been super busy. I think the last episode was the beginning of January, so it is now the 22nd of February. I almost said December. That would have been a really, really long time in between episodes. But yeah, thankfully not a whole year. It's just been about a month and a half, almost 2 months now since I filmed the last one. But a lot has happened. We are just busy kind of seeing family. I was at my mom's last weekend, seeing my sister, my nephew, my grandparents, just kind of having a really nice family weekend away. And Seaver, my husband, has started his master's program, so that's kept him busy, and here at home. So I don't have really he's here now currently too, but we're making it work because yeah, my usual days off and stuff are now kind of spent with him, spent just kind of hanging out, and yeah, it's been good, but it's been different. So kind of getting into a rhythm again is gonna maybe take a little bit of time, but yeah, I'm here. It's Saturday. It's been a really nice day so far. It's a gorgeous day out here in Wisconsin. It's almost 40 degrees, which is amazing in February. You live for these days in between the negatives and the single digit days. It's wonderful. It kind of reminds you of spring. It lets you know spring is almost here. So the sun is shining. The snow is melting a little bit. We do have our door cracked a little bit so that we can get some fresh air. It's been the first time in a long time since we've had fresh air coming in, and it just feels magnificent. I think in a little bit after I'm done recording, we're gonna go for a walk, maybe head to the local coffee shop for a little bit, do some reading, do some knitting, and just have a really great day together. So first of all though, before we do any of that, let's get into some knitting content. I kind of was wondering how I was going to structure this particular episode because none of the projects that I have, besides maybe one or two, you have seen before. They're all new. Well, that is a lie. All right. I have some things that have been on my needles for a while to show you. So I take it back that these are all new, quote unquote, new projects. So I suppose let's start with some finished objects, since the first one I'm going to show you, I do believe I was working on it during the last podcast episode, I think. Either that or I'm thinking of me just posting about it on Instagram. Either way, I will explain it. This is for one of my very good friends who, technically it's for her daughter, who just had a baby in January, at the end of January. So it's kind of big for the shot here, but it's really not, it's not too big. It's a really good sized baby blanket. As you can see there, I knit this from the corner to the other corner. You can kind of see how the rows are diagonal like that. And this is a pattern that I just kind of came up with. I really wanted to, I had this idea for a blanket that had really cool edging with cables, and I wanted to try it out, and this is what I came up with. So I can't remember which end is the cast on. I'm pretty sure it's this one. So I'll just fold this kind of into a triangle here and show it to you like this. So can you see that okay? Yeah, I think that's a pretty good shot. So I started out with some stockinette stitch, which turned into those cables that run on either edge, and then did a nice garter stitch in the middle so that it's a really squishy, warm texture. And I really like the way that this turned out. I think it gives a really cool edge to it. It almost looks a little like a frill, not a frill, but like, it's kind of like a wavy edge. And I really like that, that aspect to it. So this, I do have the instructions written down, or what I did written down, so I can put this out as a pattern. I haven't gotten to that yet, but yeah, it was just a really fun knit. I started this at the beginning of January, and her daughter was born at the end of January. I get to see and meet the baby in March, so I'm really excited for that. It's all blocked and ready to go. I just blocked it. So I'm gonna wrap it up and give it to them, yeah, in a couple of weeks when I get to see them. So the yarn I used for this project was a one-of-a-kind colorway from Orange Jellyfish Dream. It was kind of a misdye. She had 2 skeins of it when we had her yarn at Knit Circus for a trunk show. And I really, really liked the pale pink background with that beautiful purple, and then just the slight like pops of hot pink that are in there. I thought that would be the cutest baby yarn for a little girl. And when my friend found out that she was having a girl, I snatched up this yarn. So it is a DK weight, and it takes 2 skeins, which I did alternate skeins as I went, so there wasn't really a big kind of color break at all. And I weighed out the skeins so that I knew when I was halfway through. Although I did have to rip back because, I don't know, my math was maybe wrong or something. So each skein was 100 grams, and I knit 100 grams into the blanket, so 50 grams of each skein of yarn. And then I weighed them, and I had 50 grams of each left, so that would give me 100 grams to go back. Something kind of got messed up though, and I did have to rip back because I didn't have enough to finish the blanket. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but yeah, if I am to put this pattern out, I think I'm gonna knit it again just to make sure. I mean, logically that should work. I don't know why it didn't, unless my scale was off, or I don't know, maybe I used up more than I thought at the beginning. Maybe I didn't weigh them, honestly, I didn't weigh them to start out. So if they were a little bit over 100 grams, I would have used like too much and not had enough to finish. So I don't know, something happened, but I got it figured out and I was able to finish it. And I think it's gonna be a really great little blanket for the upcoming spring. So yeah, it doesn't have a name yet, although I was thinking of naming it like after the baby, but I'm not sure yet. We'll see, we'll see. So there's that. And then after I finished that blanket, I grabbed, well, I was working on a couple different things, but the Madison Knitters Guild brought Stephen West to our last meeting. I am a member of the Madison Knitters Guild. I don't go that often to meetings, but I should, because it is always a good time and there's fun people to see. And I know like I would probably connect more to the Madison, you know, knitting group if I did more things like their classes and their meetings, and they do like some outings and retreats and stuff like that. So I really should be better about going, but I did renew my membership because I knew Stephen West was coming and I really, really wanted to go. So the second Monday of February, we had our meeting, and yeah, we got to hear Stephen West talk, do kind of his I don't want to say lecture. His talk was mostly like inspirational, kind of how he got started, and how his style has morphed from his early projects to the projects that he does now. We all know he's very whimsical. He is unlike any other knitwear designer out there. So he just talked about, you know, how he used to come up with his ideas and then how he does now. It was really, really interesting. I also got to talk with him a little bit. He signed the book that I bought, which I'll show you in a little bit. And it was just great to hang out with a couple friends. I got to sit by my friend Melissa during the talk, which was a lot of fun, and say hi to a few people that I don't get to see that often. So that was really great. But it also inspired me before that, as the meeting was coming up, I was inspired to break out one of my longest standing works in progress that I still had on the needles. And this was my building block shawl that I started when he did it as a mystery knit along, which I believe was the fall of 2016. I almost want to say it was 2015, but I think it was 2016. I had to correct that on one of my posts because I looked at my project page on Ravelry and I had started it October 2016. So hasn't been quite 4 years, but almost 4 years since that got cast on. And after, I think I worked on it for a couple of weeks, and then I just kind of set it down to, I don't know, to work on Christmas presents probably, because, you know, it's towards the holidays when he does his mystery knit alongs, and I probably had I used to knit a lot of Christmas presents, so I probably had a lot to do, and I never really picked it up again. I was further along than I thought I was. I thought I was only about halfway done, but I was about 3/4 of the way done. I only had 2 more like clues left, or 2 more sections, and then the bind off to do, because I did the medium shawl, not the largest shawl. I could have just bound off and been done with it if I would have just done the small, but I really wanted to get more of my colors in there, and I'm really glad I did. It was totally worth it. So I didn't get done by the time Stephen came. I did bring this along to the meeting and I worked on it in the meeting. I only had a few more rows to do, but these rows are massive and they have so many stitches that even though I worked on it, every night for a couple of weeks, it took a long time. I think it took 15 minutes, at least 15 to 20 minutes to do one row. And yeah, like I said, I had 2 sections to do. So I took it out and started working on it about a week and a half, 2 weeks, I think about 2 weeks before he came. And then I finished it. When did I do the bind off? I think I finished it last week. No, I finished it this past week, like over maybe like Monday of this past week. So yeah, fairly new, but I'm really excited that it's done. And here it is. This is the building blocks. So I have 4 colors. That's what the pattern calls for. You probably could do like every section a different color, but I kind of stuck to the original. So this is where you start. That's the kind of the tip of the shawl. And then you kind of build out and grow it as you go. And look how long this is. It's not blocked yet, so I still have to block it. I was blocking the baby blanket, and then yeah, this is just going to be an experience to lay out and pin. So I've been kind of waiting on that. But yeah, here's the other side. I think I'm going to like it because the ends are so long, or because the shawl is so long. It's going to wrap around my neck really well. And yeah, I think I'm gonna really like it. I love my colors, and that was one of the reasons I didn't want to rip it out. Not only did I put so much work into it, but I love the way the colors look together. And I remember putting a lot of thought into how this was gonna work up, and you know, what colors I was gonna use, what yarn I was gonna use. So yeah, I just really, really wanted to get it done. So the last two sections, I was talking about how I was almost done. I had knit up to here. I was done with this section. So that's like, yeah, that's about 3/4 of it. And I only had this section and this one, the gray one, to go. So yeah, I didn't really have much, but it was just sort of holding me up. And all of these yarns are by different companies and different different dyers. It's easiest to see, I guess, in these panel sections with just the one color. So when I was choosing yarn, I originally had this colorway. Put that closer to the light. This colorway in my stash, and I really, really wanted to use it. This is actually a colorway by, I want to say it's like the Cyborg's Craft Room. She was a dyer from Minnesota that unfortunately passed away a few years ago. And I had met her at a show and bought a few skeins from her. And I remember when she passed away, like, it was really sudden and no one really knew why. I mean, it's not like her family was gonna like post about it or anything. So yeah, it was just kind of really sudden. And I remember it was after I'd cast this on, and I was really, really hoping that I had chosen a good project for this yarn, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get, you know, any more of it. So I'm really glad I used it. And I do have about maybe a little less than half a skein left of that colorway. So yeah, love that with the purples and the pinks and the green. And that was where I based all my other color choices. So this green right here is from Dream in Color. It's their, I want to say it's cashmere, merino and cashmere blend, or an MCN blend, but it's a single ply. So, and I think the colorway name is Herbal. This was the only one that I still had the tag for. So yeah, the other ones, I can't remember. This one had something to do with, like, was it Toil and Trouble or something like that? It was like a witch's brew type of a name. And I want to say it was like a quote from Macbeth or something. The witches from Macbeth. Was it Boil and Boil, Toil and Trouble? Something like that, I don't know. But yeah, so the green came next, and then I really liked the gray with it. I thought that gave it a really nice, like, neutral kind of, I don't know, you gotta have a neutral in there, in my opinion. And I love the way it looks knit up with this pink. So on the back, you can see the brioche section with the gray popping out. And I think those two look really, really pretty together. So then that pink was actually the last color I added to my color palette when I was picking them. I couldn't find the right yarn to go with those three I had chosen, and my friend Lisa, when she was dyeing yarn, and this may have been even before she was really dyeing yarn a lot, but she was kind of well, yeah, she was already selling yarn. She asked, like, if I wanted her to come up with something like custom that would go with this palette, and she was like, amazing to find and come up with that. So that fit perfectly and just brought it all together. So yeah, those are my 4 colors. I love them. And this was my first brioche, my first and only time doing any brioche knitting. So that's maybe also why I didn't want to rip it out. I'm like, I worked hard on that and watched videos, and yeah, there's no way I'm ripping all that work out. So now I get to wear it, which is very exciting. It felt so good to cast it off. Oh my gosh. And the I-cord bind off only took me, because yes, it's an I-cord bind off. Oh my gosh, with all those stitches. Look at that. It looks gorgeous, but it takes forever. But it only took me 2 nights. So I like sat down and that's what I did. I'm like, I'm just gonna bind this sucker off. Yeah, and it only took me a couple hours each night to get that done. So I'm over the moon that it's finished. It felt like such a big deal to take all my leftovers and all my notions and things that I had put in that project bag that's been sitting there for 3.5 years, and take them out and like empty the project bag, put everything away. It felt fabulous. So that was one of my goals actually for this year. Was I have a couple of projects that have been sitting around. I have a pair of socks that only has 1 sock. I just have to knit the second one. And then I have a sweater, a little boy's sweater that originally I was knitting for my cousin's son when he was like 6. He's now 11, 10. He'll be 11 this year, I think. So that, I guess, is maybe my longest whip. Thank goodness I have a nephew who I will seam up this sweater because it's completely knit. Every piece of it is knit, besides maybe I'd have to pick up for a collar or something. I have to look at the pattern again. But it's like a pullover. It's, I think, supposed to have a hood, so maybe I just have that, you know, to knit and finish, but it just needs to be seamed up. Literally, that's all. So that's sitting upstairs. It's kind of my goal to like pick away at some of those projects and just get them done, get them out, and yeah, move on. So that was the first one. It felt so good. All right, so now to some works in progress. Again, I'll show you the one that you're most familiar with, and I don't know if I've actually gotten any progress done on this since you saw it last, but it's so pretty, I'm just going to show it to you again. I haven't worked on this in a while, but maybe this will inspire me to get it back out. So this is my Dust of Snow shawl by Helen Stewart, and this was my Advent. It's long, long past Advent. I know what you're thinking, but I was very busy over the holiday season. I think this is just gonna be a new theme. It's like the busyness and, you know, other things taking priority, unfortunately. Yeah, and I kind of let things drop, but I am determined to finish this because I love the yarn and I love the way it's knitting up. I'm knitting this with my Homespun House Advent Calendar. These are the 2 colors I'm working with right now. She just dyes such bright, fun colors. Yeah, it's not always what I necessarily would choose for myself, which I actually like. I like that I'm kind of out of my comfort zone with some of these really bright, fun, you know, hues and colors like this one. What? I would not wear that usually. Look how neon that is, but that little pop of color in my shawl of this neon pink is going to be just so much fun and bring so much color to my winter wardrobe. This one's kind of more my style. I think this one's next after that, and then we get the really bright pink. So yeah, so it's just been fun. When I worked on it quite a bit. I feel like in January I picked it back up for a while and knit a few. Oh yeah, I took that to Winona. I went and visited some friends up in Winona a few weeks ago. Really, it was more than a few weeks ago. It was almost a month ago. But yeah, and I worked on it quite a bit up there, but that's the last time I did. So I gotta break that back out and knit on it because it is just so much fun. And I'm gonna love, love, love wrapping this around my neck. So what number are we on? Let's see. The next one. Okay, I have 14 in here, and I bet this one's 15. I think that was the order they went in. Yep. So I am currently on color number 13. So I'm a little more than halfway done, which is nice. And once I finish a couple things here that I'm going to show you in a second, I want to go back to that, knit more on that. Or if I just get bored with some of the things I'm making, I'll just grab that out again. Tomorrow is Scrappy Sunday. That technically is a scrappy project, so there we go. I might have to work on that a little bit. Oh, I guess I should have shown this in finished objects because they're technically, I'm done knitting them, although I have to add an embellishment. This is in, I didn't talk about what bag this is in. This is in my Cottage number 9 bag. I got this a year ago in December. So it's been over a year that I've had this, and it has housed my last 2 Advent projects. And I really love the fabric, and these are just so well made. You've heard me talk about this quite a bit, but yeah, I still love it. And my next one is in a cute little bag that was given to me by Kayla of the Angora Moose. And Kayla has hand-dyed yarn, I guess it's eco-dyed, but it's natural plant-based dyes that she sent me some yarn a little bit ago and sent this with it. So it was a little bit too small for me to fit my Christmas Eve cast on in there. The ball of yarn that I had was just way too plump to fit comfortably in there, but it was perfect for this next project. And I know it's Christmas themed. I know it is, but I really, really wanted to use it. And yeah, I'll probably put it away again for this season until next season, but not next season, until the next Christmas season. But yeah, I just wanted to use it once before I put it away. So these, let me tell you, everybody is having babies right now. I guess I'm at that age. All your friends are having babies, but I had to knit a pair of Church Mouse, Stay On Baby Booties. I've knit these before. I've actually knit a few pairs of these, and I really, really like the pattern. You can knit them out of fingering or DK, I think. Yes, there's 2 versions. Oh, there's a worsted weight version as well. So obviously they just kind of go bigger. They get bigger as you go up in yarn size, but I knit these out of some leftovers from one of my Birds and Buds pairs of socks that I knit, and this was a color from Hue Loco. Can't remember the name of it, but it is one of my favorites. And I still have leftovers. I haven't put a square of this in my Cozy Memories blanket yet, so some of it will definitely go to that. And yeah, I'll have to figure out what to do with the rest of it. There's too much for me to just like give it away or something, so. But look how cute these are. Oh my goodness. Oh, look how adorable. What? They're so cute. So technically these have, I'll show you the picture again. I hope I didn't show you too much of the front of this is just gauge and what yarn to use. So I didn't give away too much of the pattern, but you can see the picture there. They have little ties. You knit, like just before you start the cuff, you knit a row of like yarn overs. Let me show you. You can kind of see there. There's holes down in there. And you're supposed to thread this like twisted, you're supposed to like twist a piece of yarn and like fold it in half so that it kind of like wraps around itself, and then thread that through, and it's this cute little tie. So I'm still probably going to do that. I just haven't had time. But that's the last thing I have to do. So they're all seamed up. I haven't blocked them, but I don't know if I will. Maybe just to make them look pretty. That's always nice. So they're kind of, right now they kind of look a little flat. But maybe to display them, I'll sort of like stuff them a little bit so that they don't look quite so flat. Yeah, it's like, I promise these will fit. Oh, but they're so cute. So I love how they're shaped. They're shaped with these decreases across the top. And then they're meant to fold over because you can see the difference. You seam on the inside, and then you mattress stitch. So you mattress stitch on the inside, and then you mattress stitch on the front side, so that you fold this over and you don't see the mattress stitch there. So they're, yeah, they look so cute. And she doesn't know yet if it's a boy or girl. So I thought this colorway was just really, it's so earthy and neutral, and I love it. So yeah, perfect. So yes, this was a fun little project I did in January, and I did the first one really fast, and then I kind of let it go for a little while, and then I did the second one, and thankfully I didn't let them sit for too long, because there's always the fear of like you're not gonna finish them, like the seaming, if you just like let them languish. So I seamed them right away, got them done, and they're almost ready to go. So yeah, fun little project. And that's why they're technically still in this bag. I don't want to put all the materials away yet because I still have to do those ties. But the project that is taking up the majority of my attention right now, and for the past about week, is, let me get a full skein out of here so you can see the yarn, is this. Not sure. Oh, I ended at a pretty good spot. Okay. So this is the Rainbow Trail sweater, and we are knitting this kind of as a knit along at work. Well, it is a knit along for everybody. There's a few people that I know on Ravelry that aren't Knit Circus employees that are knitting this, but pretty much every single Knit Circus employee is also knitting along with this sweater cal. So if you want to join in and knit this sweater for our cal, go to our Ravelry page, the Knit Circus Ravelry page, and our groups, and there's a thread in our Ravelry group for this knit along. So it started February 14th, and we all cast on our sweaters. Everybody's doing a different color combination, which is really, really fun. And all the employees, I should say, you don't have to do a different color combination. You can do whichever one you want. And it runs until April 14th. So you have a really long time still to get this cast on, and it's knit with worsted weight, so it goes pretty quick. Here, let me just show you. So it's a raglan. I just separated for sleeves the other day, and then this morning I knit pretty much everything from the separated sleeve to where I am now, so a couple inches there. Did that today. I have a really cute mochi seal on there. I don't know how well you can see that. There's a little face. Get my sweater in order there. There you go, you can kind of see that. And that is from the Deli Dino? I think it's Deli Dino. Follow her on Instagram because she makes the most amazing progress keepers. The detail on them is absolutely insane. And she's a college student. She's like 19 or 20 years old, maybe not even. And she's down in South America. I can't remember where she lives, but she's so sweet. She sent me that actually for free because I ordered 2 last fall. So when I did my Driftless knitting retreat, Andrea and her mom came, and she was going on and on about her progress keepers, and she showed us her progress keepers, and we all just like freaked out. So there was a few of us that right there and then went on her website and like ordered some. And I mean, they're reasonable. They're like, some of her more elaborate ones are a little bit more expensive, but I think the ones I got were around $9. So I got 2 of them to kind of make shipping reasonable because it was coming from South America. And she threw in the little mochi seal for free. And I don't know, for some reason, when I was wanting to choose a progress keeper for this project, that one just sort of stood out for me. Just this fun little cute whimsical animal, and yeah, I love it. So yeah, I'm getting there on this sweater. I hope to get a lot more done today and tomorrow. I love the way my color combination is knitting out. So the way that this sweater was designed, it was made for a gradient colorway and a solid colorway. The original was designed in Knit Circus yarn, and you'll see that the color that she designed it in has been discontinued, but we do have a sample knit up that you can see on our website in the replacement. So it was originally in Over the Rainbow, which was a rainbow colorway, but that one got too difficult to dye into the gradient. It was just way too complicated. So we replaced it with Love is Love, which is our new rainbow colorway. And so we have that sample knit up, and you can see that on our website. All of us are doing kind of a different combination because we want to feature all of these different color combinations on our social media, on our website, and, you know, just so you can see, you know, what a different color will look like, because not everybody is into bright rainbow. I know I'm not really into that. I don't wear much bright colors. I wear blue and gray and green and yeah, sometimes red. That's probably the brightest I wear, but I'm much more of a neutral person, as you can see by my color choice. Way more neutral, but I absolutely love it. So I am almost finished with my first gradient cake. You can see I don't have a whole lot left. I probably have 2. I'm almost done with my, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th color in the gradient. And each gradient technically has 6 colors. I don't know why I went like that. 6 colors. 6 colors. So I'm almost done with my 4th one. So I'll have 2 more to go. I'm a little bit nervous that I'm gonna run out before I get to the end of the body. I'm technically only supposed to use 1 gradient for the body, but I might have to kind of steal some of the blue off of my next one because the sleeves won't take as long or as much yarn to knit. So I'll just have to weigh it out and make sure I'm taking, because I do have 2 gradients left, 1 for each of the sleeves. So I could take a little bit from each end. I would just have to make sure that they would like match as I knit the sleeves. Yeah, and this colorway is called Counting Sheep. So pretty. That purple in there is just, it's like the most perfect purpley gray. It's amazing. So yeah, that is my gradient. And then my semi-solid is called Bedrock. Beautiful dark gray. And I just finished, that's why I ended where I did. I'm pretty much done with my first skein of the Bedrock. So I'm about to attach my second one. And yeah, I have a couple more skeins of that. I should be good. I should be good on that. I have 2 more of the Bedrock and then 2 more gradients to work with. And this is being housed in a really big tote bag, actually. Probably bigger than I need for this project, but that's okay. This is I think it's a 31 bag my mom got me for Christmas. So yeah, I really like that. And that's my progress on that. Yay! I'm gonna just absolutely love wearing that, I think. Very excited. I'm knitting, I should tell you, I'm knitting the medium because I want it to be a little bit more roomy. And was there anything else? It's supposed to have positive ease too. So with my measurements, I figured if I gave myself the positive ease that she, you know, suggests, I'd be bumped up to a medium. So it's perfect. I can put a long sleeve shirt underneath. Come winter, I'll probably still be able to wear it this year because March can be, and even April sometimes can be pretty chilly around here. So a sweater might be needed. And I should be able to get that done by middle of March, I think. Maybe even sooner than that. Who knows? Depends on how much knitting I get done this weekend and maybe next. So I have been so good over the last 2 months. I have only bought 1 skein of yarn, and that's not even here yet. I only caved and bought that skein of yarn because it is a club, kind of a mystery club that Molly of A Homespun House is doing. And if you guys know me, you follow Molly, you already know what I'm gonna say. She is releasing a Little House in the Big Woods club for March, and every month after that is going to be the next book. So I'm like, maybe that will just be my yarn allowance for the next few months, is I will only get that. And what I really like about how she does her clubs now, and I know it's not for every club, but for this one in particular, you only have to pay for one of them. So if I decide I can't afford the next one, or, you know, whatever, if something comes up, you know, I'm not committed to it. And it also gives you a chance to kind of save up. So right now we're in like super saving mode, and I'm really, really trying to be good and not spend money on things I don't really need. So that was the one thing I bought, the 1 skein of yarn that will be coming in the mail next month. And I'm really excited. Those books, the Laura Ingalls Wilder books, are just my absolute favorite. And I really, really think that I'm gonna be excited and enjoy this hand-dyed yarn. So the only other thing knitting related that I have bought or acquired recently was my book from the West Knits, the Stephen West talk at the Knitters Guild. So I decided to go with his West Knits Best Knits Volume 3 because there's a couple shawls in here that I really, really like, and I think I would really have a lot of fun knitting. I mean, you guys will all have seen these on Ravelry, but there's the Herbivore. There's another one. The Marled Magic is in here, which is one that I think would be really fun to make. The Rockefeller, the Chrysler. Let's see, where is... I mean, I'm not going to make all of them. This Marled Magic actually sold me because the other one in here and the one that I think is on his pattern page is very neon, but this one is like those colors I could do. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, you always know, okay, you can make it your own. You don't have to, you know, see, this is the one that I'm like, meh, that's not really me. And obviously I know I wouldn't put those colors into it because it's not me, but it is really nice to see it in a color palette that you like and would wear. Just sort of reinstates the fact that yes, I can knit this out of colors I like and it's gonna look great. The other one, oh my gosh, this one he showed in his talk. Look at that. I love it. The edging, you do this like cool short row edging first and then you pick up, which I think picking up all of those stitches would be crazy and kind of awful, but at the same time it would be really, really fun. So yeah, there was enough in here that I knew I could buy it and wanted to buy it. And it's just fun to see the pictures and everything too. Some really great photography. But anyway, oh, the chevron shenanigans. I really like that one too. Let's see if I can find a good picture. Anything I show is going to give too much away, so you can look that one up. But yeah, and then I got it signed. So in all of the books he had written, "Keep on Knittin' Kitten," which is his kind of slogan, and then whoops, then he put my name there, so and signed it. And yeah, we chatted a little bit. I have met him several times. Yeah, so this would have been the 4th time I have met him. I took one class from him, and then he, up in the Twin Cities, and then he came down to Yarnology when I was working there twice. So the first time was for the Stephen and Stephen tour, the first Stephen and Stephen tour. They kicked it off, I should say, him and Stephen B, at Yarnology in Winona. We had this really, really awesome like luncheon, and we did it out at a golf course. It was gorgeous. That event was so amazing. I remember the excitement behind it. We were all just like so pumped. It was really cool. And then the second time, they were together again, Stephen B and Stephen West, and they came up to Yarnology and did a fashion show, which was really fun. So they had samples from both Stevens's kind of line, and there was a group of us, both the workers and some family members of the employees and a couple other people that we bribed to come and kind of model some of their samples. And what was really fun is we did this crazy like face painting. We all wore like dark black t-shirts and black jeans, and yeah, it was just kind of really in line with like their like aesthetic. And Stephen West so we have a basement at Yarnology. I still say we, like I still work there, but there's 2 staircases that go down into the basement. So we would get dressed downstairs, and then we'd go up one staircase and like walk the runway, and then go down the other staircase, get our next outfit, go up the staircase again. So it worked out really, really well. And Stephen B was the one kind of like talking about each thing and announcing us and like kind of emceeing, and then Stephen West was downstairs dressing us. So it was a lot of fun to kind of hang out and have an extended sort of time with them and everything. And yeah, so when I was talking to Stephen, I kind of mentioned that I used to work there, and he totally remembered the events and asked, how I was doing and how they're doing up there, and if I live down here now, what I'm doing down here. So it was just really fun to chat with him and know that he kind of remembered me. Even if he didn't remember me as a person, he at least remembered like where I was in the events and that shop and everything. Good memories for him too, it sounded like. So yeah, that was really cool. I had a really good time. But anyway, so yeah, that's my West Knits book. So I've bought one book and one skein of yarn in the last 2 months in the year of 2020, which is really, really good for me. Working on that yarn habit. But yeah, I'm gonna keep saving up. I'm hopefully not going to be tempted by too much else. There are some shows coming up that I'm gonna go to. Not sure how I'll do there, but we'll see. It'll test my resolve, I suppose. I do actually have a skein of yarn, a cake of yarn to show you, but I did not buy this. I was asked by my boss to knit a pair of my Birds and Buds socks with Knit Circus yarn. So this is going to be, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of one of our upcoming spring speckles, which is really exciting. You won't be able to see too much from this cake because obviously you can't see. It's not like if the skein was laid out, you can't see all the colors, but this is what it looks like. There's some fun pops of orange and purple and yellow. It's just really bright and fun. I think this is going to be called something like a bee, like busy bee or something, busy bee speckle maybe. So keep your eye out for that. But I'm going to knit my Birds and Buds socks with this, and it's going to be a sample that we're going to feature in the newsletter and in our shop. So that's really exciting. And I haven't knit a pair of socks. Can you believe this? Haven't knit a pair of socks since my Christmas Eve cast on was finished. So I've been trying to focus on, you know, getting projects done and working on work stuff. So yeah, it's going to be nice to cast on a pair of socks again. I'm really looking forward to it. I have so many things that I want to cast on though. Even this morning was like, Jennifer, stop it. Like, just focus on what you have, finish those things, and then you can move on. But that's always the struggle. So, all right, I think that just about does it. I've shown you all my works in progress, all my finished objects, giving you a little bit of a lowdown of what's been going on here. If you want to keep following along with what I'm doing, I will hopefully get another podcast episode up soon. No promises at what time, but you know, hopefully it won't be 2 months. And yeah, in the meantime, just head on over to Instagram, give me a follow, subscribe to this page that you do know, or this YouTube channel, so you do know when I'm putting an episode out. You can give the episode a thumbs up if you're happy that I'm back. And yeah, I will hopefully see you guys again very, very soon. Just keep on knitting, keep on doing things that make your heart happy, and I'll be doing the same. Bye.